Welcome everyone, it's time for more The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante, and what is most likely the last episode of this series. And I say that for like two reasons. Number one being that we are indeed at the very end of the game. It's basically two parts, so to speak, to the game left. We are in the evening of the Revolt. I'm gonna assume that there is a night as well, possibly. I don't even know about that. This might be the final bit, actually. The second part of why this is going to be the final episode is that even if things doesn't go my way right now, with the rebel leader, which is going to be basically the very crucial point here in the game, if everything doesn't go my way, which it could, or rather could not, maybe I should say, I don't exactly know what I can do to change that by replaying the final chapter, because I think I've done as well as I can. There was the bit about the religious people. I could possibly do that differently, but doing anything in that event would most likely cause me to use willpower. I'm currently at 15 willpower. It might be that I only use 5 or something like that, so well, actually I got willpower from that event, so yeah, I don't exactly know if that is a possibility really. But indeed, we are at the very final bits here, and we have a rebel leader to take care of, and it's Sophia currently, or I don't know if she's the actual rebel leader or if she's vying for being the rebel leader, but in order for us to get to where we want to be, which is basically, let's see here, where were we? Yeah, we can do these two. We cannot do this one because the clergy is not liking us enough, or the clergy is not strong enough, maybe I should say. We can obviously not do that one. We could do this one. The revolt wins a decisive victory over the Imperial forces. Sure. This can happen. So basically, yeah, okay, so let's just review here. The outcomes are, the city is defended. I can do that one. The rebels managed to fight back the attack of the Legion and hold Anizotte for some time. Because yes, indeed, the sort of Empire's legions are bearing down on the city as we speak. Cannot do peace with the Overseer. Would have loved to do that, but yeah, clergy not high enough, power not high enough. Surrender of the revolt? Nope, can't do that. Defeat the revolt? Nope, can't do that. Can defeat the Legion? That is a thing that we can do. And if we look here, by the way, wait, where is? Can I not see? There is another screen where you can sort of see what is a peaceful option and what is a not so peaceful option. The Anizotte massacre. Sophia currently is leading the revolt, yes, but I can take it from her. If I don't, the revolt wins, basically. But indeed, the cost is a relentless massacre. Or if we fail all of these, if none of them are succeeded, dark times ahead, chaos and disorder spreads all over the Empire. We kinda don't want that either, do we? Not really. And obviously I can also die because I am at 3 deaths. So death is always a looming disaster here. As for all of the other ones, well, the family isn't existing, so that's all fine. I could at some point flee the city, I suppose. Escape from the city is when we don't succeed with any of the other options. I escape the city. I don't die, but I do flee the city, and dark times are ahead. This is one that I want to do. I do want to lead a revolt. And this is not going to happen, obviously, because I am a rebel. Now, one thing that hasn't happened yet, and I might be banking on this right now, which is that I am at 20 in the Valor. And if we look at this, which we have looked at before, the maximum value 20 only gives you a chance for 1 extraordinary deed. I haven't had an extraordinary deed yet. So hopefully the game might throw that at me soon. It would be nice to have 1 extraordinary deed, but alright then. Indeed, final bits and pieces are coming together in some way. So, the sun is setting, the blood-red sky quavers in the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. You cannot help but recall a passage from the lives of the twins, one of the many pages mother used to quote when you were a child. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Could this passage be referring to today? You lead your followers to Empire Square. You walk around rubble, past abandoned carriages and unfinished barricades. There have clearly been clashes here recently. The dust of the departed is still rising into the sky. Yes, this is in a world, obviously, where when people die, they don't just go away. They basically they do what they do in the Avengers. They just turn into dust. But unlike the Avengers, they do come back to life. So there would be a lot of, like, people dust in the air. Don't smoke that, kids. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery, well over half of the commoners of Anizotte. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officials either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumors and gossip reach your ears as you move closer. Did you hear what happened at the Great Tree? It's the Inquisitors! They just started slaughtering folks. They grabbed them swords of theirs and started killing unarmed people. When Leonard's procession made it into the temple, there was a sign from the twins. All lies! The twins got angry and destroyed them all under the tree. The temple's gone, Fantasia, gone for good. And, yeah, that last part is sort of correct. Yes, they made it to the temple, but not into the temple. I think that basically Leonard's probably dead. I don't think we have confirmation of his death, do we? We can probably check that. Does the game flag him as dead? Yes, the game flags him as dead. And I would assume that Jean is also indeed flagged as dead. So they are not anymore. The crowd is on edge. Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from the Chancellery stares calls for another people's court. The mob turns as one. Several last-straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out onto the steps and force them to their knees. The leader of the executioners is a preacher with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. Oh, I like that one. That's a cool character. That's Father Fuad, or something like that. The younger, he speaks through us, he does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. People, it's time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? The mob roars so loudly the square shakes. Death, true death, they say. The last straw rebels ready their guns. One of the captive gets on his feet and speaks out defiantly. And apparently it's someone called Friedrich L. Laberius. Have we made your acquaintance at some point? I kind of recognize the name. Oh well, you dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power, you never have and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? Bah, we'll come back and we'll make you pay. I don't think that you are in a position to be that haughty, but sure. The aged nobleman's last words are drowned out by a thunderous volley of gunfire. One by one, the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. Bob gasps in amazement. Can be no doubt, the People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. And yes, that is interesting actually, because so throughout the game, when people have been hanged, that is basically true death. So does this mean that is only because the twins then deem that that particular kind of death is deserving of true death? Because if that's the case, then yes, death by, I suppose, how do you say that in English? Arquebus... Fire squad, let's call it a fire squad. That apparently does indeed mean true death. Ooh. Tough times for nobles, bloody hell. And Father Fuad says this is what will happen to anyone who dares to oppose us. All hail the revolt, all hail our leader, all hail Sophia. Sophia's gonna lead us, she's gonna fend off the Legion, she's gonna bring justice, first to Anizotte, then to the whole Empire. She's gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. The mob explodes in an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia, Sophia. And, well, we'll see about that, won't we? Oh, bloody hell. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. But I see one very good one. The enormous throng bellows wildly, eager to see the face of its leader. So I can hook up with Sophia and say, yeah, good on ya, Sophia, do the thing. I could take control of the revolt, but that would only be if Sophia isn't leading the revolt. So I would assume that, depending on how we would have, you know, handled Sophia throughout the game, she would not be leading the revolt. Maybe we would be leading the revolt from the very beginning, because if you go with the not nobility, not religious way, you would be more into the rebellion, so maybe you would be the leader already or something like that. We could break up the mob, but we can't because we don't defend them. Again, we're a rebel, so this doesn't work. But we can overthrow Sophia. And apparently, again, no, apparently we do not need Valor of 20 for this. Troops are at 2, common folk are at 3. I am a rebel, the revolt is at 8, I have a lot of willpower. She is leading the revolt, I can overthrow Sophia. I don't know why I need to get her executed. That seems weird. And I can stay out of it, which doesn't seem like a good choice. And I cannot watch what happens next because I'm a rebel. And also she is leading the revolt. So, well, I mean, this is the only one that I want to do. I don't want to unite under Sophia. That's not a good idea. And I can't take control because she is the leader. So, well, cross your fingers. Is this going to work? Is this going to work? Well, I still have the Valor of 20 if she wants to sort of do anything. You make your way through the crowd and reach the Chancellor's stairs. Your silhouette seems to blaze in the light of the setting sun. Raise a clenched fist into the air, demanding silence. Your voice booming, you make your proclamation. Sophia is no longer the leader of the revolt. I, Chris Brante, lead you now. People freeze in astonishment when they hear this. A murmur of discontent spreads throughout the crowded square. Who does this Brante guy think he is? We follow Sophia, not you. The discontent grows, but you refuse to relent. Sophia was leading our city to destruction, slaughter, and death. Had she remained in charge, it would have meant suffering for us all. We're gathered here not to revel in revenge or destruction. For the first time in history, you have what it takes to lay the foundation of a new world. A world where justice is the same for all, where all estates are equal, where we are free of the lots. Am I saying this? I don't know. It kind of feels like just regular narration. I hope I am saying this to people, not just looking at them and hoping that they understand what it is that I want to say. You will defend the city, you will fend off the Legion, you will persevere and show the Empire that you are a force to be reckoned with. Once they finally realize they have no choice but to reckon with you, they will reckon with all the commoners of the Empire. You end your speech, exhausted and hoarse. The murmur fades away, all fear and uncertainty are gone. Thousands of people in the square are no longer suspicious of you. They are hopeful. Once more, you can see it in their eyes. Then comes the first shouts. Lead us, Brante, we're right behind you. Brante, Chris Brante. That's me. Suddenly, a loud shrill cry resounds behind you, cutting through the cheers. It's Sophia. I mean, we haven't done anything to her yet, so yes. Traitor! Death to the traitor Brante, she goes. Oh, bloody hell. Yes, she's going psychic on us. The crowds fall silent. All eyes are on a figure descending the Chancellor's stairs. Twin sepia flames smolder in the young woman's eyes. And she says, Brante is lying to you people. If you follow him, you'll be slaves until the end of time. Don't you know that our enemy can't be bargained with? First they'll throw us a bone just to restore order, and then they'll get even stronger and tighten the nooses around our necks. We can't reason with them, we have to destroy them. Today is the first day of a new era. We will begin by taking back our city. We will eliminate anyone who dares to stand in our way. Then we will declare war against the old regime, against the entire empire, no mercy. I mean, you do have power yourself, yes, but, like, that's a tall order. Upon hearing these words, even the most frantic rebels fall silent. A frightened murmur ripples through the crowd. Is Sophia asking them to take on the entire world? Sophia raises her arms skyward. Her eyes are like two blazing suns. And she says, anyone who turns tail and runs is an enemy of the revolt, our enemy. The crowd remains silent, transfixed by Sophia's glowing gaze. No one will dare to utter a word against her now. This is your last chance to take action before the entire mob turns on you. Take a deep breath and scream at the top of your lungs, she's a witch! Okay, that's... I'm sorry, but that's a little bit humorous almost. She's a witch! It's all witchcraft. Sophia's using magic to control your minds, I say. Incredulous murmurs spread throughout the crowd. You shout as loud as you can. Sophia is just as much of a tyrant as those she wants you to overthrow. She'll take away your old shackles and replace them with magical ones. She doesn't care about the people. She only wants one thing, to watch the world burn. Thousands of eyes around you no longer reflect Sophia's golden glow. Confusion spreads among the people. Who should they listen to? Then the shouts begin. Burn the lying witch! She wants us all dead! Desperate for support, Sophia glances back at her gang. Enough of this, she says. Kill Brante and his lapdogs. The time for words has passed. The last straw soldiers reach for the guns, but you are already shouting orders. Your battalions advance on them. Mob is split by the ensuing chaos. Some commoners defend Sophia's cause, while others side with you. More still flee the square as fast as their legs can carry them. The last straw, Sophia says. Ready, aim, fire. Rebel squads dash out of the chancellery, firearms in hand. The bullets come in quick succession. A hail of bullets hits the square, sparing no one from either side. Commoners try to escape, die along with your soldiers. Dozens of people fall to the ground and mindlessly jostling throng, only to be trampled by the fleeing horde. Blood runs down the cobblestones. The corpses of those killed dissipate in shimmering mist. The battle is a short one. The firearms hold back your assault, the enemy's bullets taking your men out one by one, but you outflank Sophia's forces, engage them in hand-to-hand combat. The surviving insurgents drop their weapons and beg you not to execute them. They are willing to fight on your side and hand their leader over to you. Sophia is quickly bound and hurled to the ground at your feet. The rebel leader glares at you from behind a mass of tangled hair. Remind the wounded soldiers that time is of the essence. You must dispose of Sophia for good. Time has come for the people's court. You command your squad to stand Sophia against the wall of the chancellery and take aim. Sophia scrambles to her feet with difficulty. Her face is a hideous mask of bruises. She says, "Too bad it took me so long to figure out what you really are, Brante. Too bad." But this ain't over yet. Before you know it, you'll be burning in the fire I started, you and this whole ugly world. Bitter tears run down Sophia's cheeks. For a split second, you see the frightened girl from next door, pursued by terrifying horsemen. Cut Sophia off and address what remains of the mob. It is time for Sophia to stand trial. They will judge her in the name of the people of Anizotte. This woman was plotting to destroy the city and start a bloodbath that would doom us all, commoners and the other estates alike. For the sake of the people, Sophia must be sentenced to true death. People of Anizotte, what say you? Death, they say. Good job. A volley of gunshots. Sophia is hurled against the wall. Shaking violently, she collapses to the ground. Her eyes, which had shone with a livid yellow glow just moments ago, are extinguished forever. The soldiers slowly lower their firearms. Turn to the silent crowd. The verdict of the People's Court has been carried out. Citizens have saved Anizotte from death and destruction. Tonight, we must also save it from the Legion. We will no longer be led by Sophia's blind hatred. We will stand firm. We know what we are fighting for. You see hope return to the faces of the disconcerted people. They were shaken by Sophia's death, but you showed them a new goal, and they have cast their fears aside. Lead us, Brante. The old guard of the last straw, who have always been loyal to Sophia, will follow you. The Revolt City has accepted you as its new leader. Oh yeah. Meanwhile, the watchmen at the gate bring news. The Legion is only a few hours away. The final battle is drawing near. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions you take in the coming hours. So yes, indeed, one final step. But Sophia is executed. The rebels are still winning. We lost a bit there because obviously losing your leader is never good, even though a new leader emerges. The troops were, killed a bit, but the common folk, a bit stronger. And the clergy actually also a bit stronger, so that's possibly good. I only actually had to spend 5 willpower for that. Alright, so... Alright. Okay. Well, I'm kind of happy that I have 10 willpower anyway. So there we go. The event that I am leading the revolt has indeed happened. So what's going to happen with that then? Because there's going to be something special happening. Or not. It just happened. Alright then. So we're moving to the night. And this is now when the Empire troops arrive. Is this where I'm going to get my super cool things then? This event is a consequence. Sure, I am a rebel, that's true. I am gonna just check destiny here. So I have become the leader, which means that oh no. Troops went below 2 now. Oh, okay. I mean, this is still fine. This is the peaceful solution. That they accept the demands, or I defeat them. But I need either power to go up. Is that power in the province? Yes, that is power in the province. So I either need the commoners to feel better about themselves, so to speak, or I need people to fight for us. It's still not over. It's still not over. Bloody hell. The final hour is upon us. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of a city in the throes of a rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gate, where you have set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the mantle and former members of the Legion who have joined the revolt. Priests who have sided with you will spread the word of the twins from the city walls, attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anizotte to be free of the lots. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who have established a foothold in the ruins of Carmelanides' palace. Soon their fate will be decided. Will they crush the revolt with the aid of the Legion, or be crushed themselves by the new era? There is almost no time left, just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favor. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help, or would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Will you attempt to defeat the Legion and the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anizotte is in your hands. So I suppose... Okay, so here's the thing. You're dead, so that's fine. My family's dead. Well, not dead, but it has perished. And Sophia is dead, so none of those are choices. I can't talk to Elborn. He likes me. He's a rebel, etc., etc. I think he still likes me. Doesn't he? Well, okay, fine. He's indifferent to me now. But the thing is, do I know... Prefect will help you win over the nobles that who have yet to choose a side. Or my preparation is complete. All you need to do is save your strength for the moment of truth. I'm thinking that I don't know that the power will go up if I go with Elborn. The power right now is 2. I only need one point for that, but I do not know that going to Elborn actually gives me power. Mustering my forces, however, doesn't that feel like troops would go up? It feels like troops would go up if I muster my forces. Doesn't that feel correct? I mean, I realize that as that is unlocked, it might be a good idea to do that one. But what if the thing that I get from it is the incorrect thing? So what if I get, like, nobles? I mean, okay, so the nobles are on my side, cool. That doesn't help. Like, that literally does not help. And if I don't get power for the province, which I cannot see how more commoners would be in power because I do this. I'm gonna assume that this is the one that we can get, or rather use to raise up the commoners. But that's not a possibility, so I'm gonna go for muster my forces and hope that that gives me a point in troops and that we defeat the Imperial forces. We'll see if I have to replay until this point and see if this is a better choice. I'm gonna go for this, and hopefully that gives me some troop bonus, so to speak. This day has already turned out to be the most arduous of your entire life, and the hardest part is yet to come. You need to take advantage of this lull to clear your mind. Who knows? Perhaps your inner strength is what will decide the outcome of the coming clash. You walk away from the army's noisy preparations, sit on a parapet and watch the city burn. Off in the distance, you can just make out the district where you were born and raised. Your memories bring you back to a time when you first walked these streets. In your mind's eye, you see young faces of Thomas, Stefan, Gloria, but that is all in the past now. The midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the wall. That's willpower. That's not troops, that's willpower. Alright, well, I don't know if we're screwed, we'll see. We have the battle, maybe during the battle I can make some choices. Oh, that's some nice drumming going on. The dark void beyond the walls of Anizotte is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots treaded the soil, armor clanks, halberds gleam, drums beat a lively march. Lit by the glow of the torches, the Magran Legion approaches the city walls. The Imperial army finally arrives to put an end to this unfathomable revolt. Gaius Tempest himself leads Legion. It is the Overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the revolt to last even a few days, it could jeopardize not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that has been entrusted to him. An entire city rebelling against Imperial rule, nothing like this has happened for generations. The decisions you made today have compelled most of the people of Anizotte to join the revolt. By nightfall, the rebels have gained the upper hand. The defenders of the Empire have no hope of victory. They may have amassed a considerable army to fight the revolt, but they came too late. The troops loyal to the Empire have reached an impasse. The entire city has risen against them. Exhausted and demoralized by the futile fight, many Imperial loyalists leave their camp or surrender to the rebels. Only the inexorably approaching Legion separates the revolt from total victory. Time for rioting and lawlessness has passed. Now all the forces of the revolt have joined forces in pursuit of a single goal: to hold the city. The main forces of the revolt maintain order in their camp with a firm hand. There are still many insurgents who are ready to fight to the true death for their cause. The soldiers of the last straw are reckless conspirators and dangerous fighters taught by Sophia to struggle against the old order until the bitter end. Zealous new believers who would rather face execution than betray their faith. Poor nobles and former Legion soldiers who have joined the revolt in violation of their oath of loyalty to the Empire. They know there will be no mercy for them, so they have nothing to lose. All the remaining rebel forces gather at a fortified base by the city gate. The rebels have surrounded it with barricades, preparing to repel an attack from either side. The soldiers of the revolt, some armed with spears and axes, some with firearms, and some with simple rocks, hastily assemble atop the walls. The Legion gets into formation in front of the gate, ready to begin the assault as soon as their commander gives the order. The defenders atop the walls respond by raising their firearms. A herald from Gaia's Tempest comes forward, stopping mere steps from the gate. He loudly proclaims the overseer's demands. Gaia's Tempest indeed goes, well, the guy saying what he says, I suppose. My subjects, lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Arcanian ruler that I will spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. The Legion Herald proudly lifts his head, awaiting the rebels' decision. Someone better just shoot him. Oh... No, okay. You cast a quick glance at your allies, the time for preparation is ended. Everything depends on the size of your army and the balance in the city between the forces you have managed to win over and those you have antagonized. The next hour will determine your place in history, and I can't do it. You cannot defeat the armed forces of the Empire, your only option is to fight until you die in death. Okay, so... can't do that because the troops are too low. Can't do that because power is too low. Can't do that because troops are too low. And I'm too low scheming. That's so... Why are troops so low? Why are troops so low? Why is power so low? Damn it. Well, okay. I still have my my heroic deed or extraordinary deed. Don't know when that's gonna come. I mean, it's the only option, so we're gonna go for it, but am I gonna have to replay this and see if I can do something else? Because I kind of want to have at least a fun ending, if you know what I mean. So the soldiers on the walls freeze in anticipation, awaiting your decision. For the last time, you consider the consequences. The fate of Anizotte depends on your reply. You look back at your rebel troops, their numbers greatly depleted. You look back at your city, where many have turned their backs on you. Some because of your actions today, others out of fear of the punishment they will inevitably face for rising up against the Empire. But there is no turning back now, you know your answer. From atop the city gate, you proclaim that the Overseer no longer has any subjects in this city. From this day forth, Anizotte is free. Behind you, you hear the loud roar of those who still support you. We're not your servants anymore. Get lost. The herald silently retreats to the Legion formation. There is a brief moment of quiet. Holding your breath, you watch the menacing enemy army. Finally, the silence is broken by drum roll and the stamping of thousands of feet. The Legion is about to attack. To arms! When the charge, take the city, goes Gaius. The Overseer sends his first battalion at the walls closest to the gate. The Arcanian remains with his elite cavalry observing the assault from afar. The fortress of Anizotte has withstood many an assault, and these stones saw many battles before the foundation of the Empire. The Legion, on the other hand, rushed here equipped with nothing but jerry-rigged siege ladders. You still hope to stand your ground. Gaia's Tempest needs to pacify the city this very night. Therefore, his soldiers will try to make their way over the wall. Open the gate from inside and let the main forces in. You cast a glance at your soldiers, contemplating your next move, but you suddenly hear cries of terror, the clattering of hooves, and the clanking of armor from your camp at the gate below. The enemy is attacking from the rear. If your defenses are broken from the inside of the city, you are doomed. Gathering your soldiers, you dash down to the barricades protecting the gate. Beneath the banner of the Empire, squads of militiamen led by local nobles are assaulting your camp. It pains you greatly to see so many poorly armed commoners among their ranks. They echo their commander, screaming, "The twins are watching us, death to the rebels!" You hurry toward the fortifications. The defenders repel the first onslaught with great effort. For now, the barricades have kept the enemy from reaching the gates. but your strength is quickly running out. Meanwhile, up on the walls, you can already see the Legion's siege ladders. Your voice is hoarse, but you keep shouting orders. Hold the barricade, freedom or death! The noble cavalry suddenly emerges from the darkness, striking your right flank. You rush to stop them, but it is too late. The mounted soldiers have already smashed the barricades and burst into your camp. Your defenses have fallen, all hope is lost. Soldiers scatter, terrified by the furious horsemen. Ragged and covered in blood, barely able to stand, you lead a few rebels still ready to fight to the end. Falling into formation, you aim your weapons at the cavalry as it charges you. The horsemen slam into your squad like an avalanche, crushing it. You are knocked off your feet. You no longer have the strength to get back up and continue to fight. That's him! That's Brante, their leader! A gang of commoners run up to you and bind you hand and foot. Lying helpless on the ground, you lift your gaze. The Legion's vanguard has already decimated the resistance on the walls and is now opening the gate. The few surviving rebels dash from the gate and try to escape down back alleys. The gate swings open, creaking loudly. On the other side, you see the fluttering banners of the approaching Legion. Victorious Imperial Army cries in unison, "We won! We won! Long live the Emperor! Death to the insurgents! Put them to trial!" Accompanied by the clanking of armor, the Legion battalions enter the city one after another. At the head of the cavalry, Overseer Gaius Tempest imperiously passes through the gate. And he says, "Punitive battalion, pacify the city. These streets must be completely free of rebels by dawn. First, we must be sure to dispose of all their leaders. Bring them to me. Wounded and bound, you are thrown at the Overseer's feet. And the Legion captain goes, 'Your Grace, this is one of their leaders, Chris Brante.' The other leaders of the revolt are shoved to the ground by your side. You exchange grim looks with your comrades, and Gaius goes, 'Madman, what were you hoping for? The Empire is great and eternal. Why did you defy a force that can crush any of you in an instant?' You remain silent, looking the Overseer straight in the eye. He says, 'I was not your enemy. I have always cared for my subjects. I gave you a path to salvation, but you spurned my gracious offer. Now you face just retribution at my hands. Hang them.' The Overseer watches without pleasure as hastily made nooses are thrown around your necks. 'For high treason and mutiny against the lawful and sacred authority of the blessed Arcan Empire, I, Gaius of the Tempests, Overseer Magra, hereby sentence you to true death. May your execution serve as a lesson to all those who dare consider themselves above the divine order.' You think back on the years gone by, all the difficult decisions you had to make, all the actions that led you here, everything you fought for, everything you strove for, all that is behind you now. Your destiny has been fulfilled. The Legion soldiers pull on the rope, your body is jerked upward, no longer under your control. X snaps with a sickening crunch. Your life and suffering has ended, or have ended. You're whisked away toward a blinding light, and everything just goes crap. Yes. All that is very bad. So dark times indeed happen. Neither side succeeds chaos and order, etc., etc. So how does this now work? I again achieve true death.
Neither side could overcome the other. The fire of the revolt could not be extinguished. The province, and then the whole empire, fell on troubled times.
And that is apparently one of the endings, I suppose. So the outcome of the revolt. When the moment of truth came, there was no soul in Anizotte strong-willed enough to spearhead the raging revolt. The opposing factions soon reached a stalemate in which neither side could prevail completely. Anizotte refused to surrender, but after a prolonged siege, Gaius Tempest finally broke the city's defenses, and the Legion entered the rebellious city of Anizotte. The insurgents fled, the mobs disappeared from the squares and the streets, the leaders of the revolt hanged. But the city's capture made even more trouble for the Overseer. The unrest was beaten down, but not suppressed completely. Riots followed one by one as the common folk, the new faith priests, and many nobles of the mantle continued to wage a desperate struggle against the old authorities. Gaius Tempest responded to the seething rebellion with more executions and threats, but dissent continued to grow. As the unrest in the city smoldered, the rest of the empire eventually caught wind of the Anizotte revolt. Nearby Magran towns and villages saw their first riots soon after. Chaos began to spread across the Empire. The Empire responded to this enduring turmoil with ruthless action, but even after several villages and towns were drowned in blood, the riots only intensified. The dominance of the Emperor and his dynasty began to wane. Power struggles broke out between the powerful nobles in the capital. Then, a shocking event shook the Empire to its core. Emperor Uther II was found dead in his palace, never to be reborn. His heirs, Geryon and Flavius, both disappeared without a trace. With no one to take the throne, the noble dynasties accused one another of plotting against the Tempest's rule. Feuds and internecine strife became commonplace. And so began an age of anarchy, a time of massacre and riots, conflict and bloodshed, chaos and unrest. There were no winners in this war of all against all, only survivors. The Empire entered a dark and terrible age. Alright then, power! Okay, we're just gonna go through all of this, I suppose. The power struggle in Magra continues, none of the factions are strong enough to prevail over the others, the estates are locked in a civil war, the common folk have rebelled against the rule of Gaius Tempest, and the nobility has been shattered into feuding camps. Animosity and strife have taken over. If this continues, Magra could remain divided for a very long time. Church, the clash between the old faith and the new continued. As the schism in the clergy grew, the people of Magra remained similarly divided. Neither doctrine has enough power to prevail over the other, so the venomous accusations and fervent disputes continue. The Inquisition is powerless to end the struggle. Strife between the faiths will continue to fester. The people of the province and the Empire will never be at peace until they decide which part of the path of the worship is the one that leads to the twins. And the wealth is... Are we going to go through... we're going through like these four then. The wealth, the farmers, miners and tradesmen of Magra managed to survive the years of unrest. Once those dark days were behind them, they quickly recovered. The fields filled with the imported soil continued to supply the people with food, and the Magra silver mines maintain a steady flow of the blessed metal to the rest of the empire. Whatever happens next, the province is safe from poverty and hunger. Well, that's good. And then finally, order. The years of unrest have left a mark on Magra. People no longer fear or respect the rule of law. Disorder continues to spread throughout the land. The only thing capable of maintaining an unsteady balance is brute force, as carnage, riots, and disdain for the law continue to plague the province. It will be a long time before Magra has a chance at peace again. For many years, alright, divine omens as well, alright. For many years after the revolt in Anizotte, the people of the Empire told the tale of how the Elder Twin himself visited the mortal world once again. He donned the guise of a common mortal to seek the truth of his own creation and settle a dispute with the younger. No one helped him find the answer he sought. So, as the legend goes, the Elder Twin returned to the Shining Pillar, never to descend to the mortal realm again. Is that a thing for, like, the priesthood sort of a thing? Alright, Dorius Auden, apparently. Until the very end, the Arcanian commander refused to acknowledge that the laws that govern the lowly lot held sway over him as well. And yet, thanks to you, he finally faced justice. The once renowned descendant of the Auden dynasty met with an ignoble end on the gallows, a terrible blow from which his family never recovered. With the death of his last living son, the venerable Auden blood tide ran dry. Well, that's very good in the end. And Augustine, Prefect Augustine Alborn, never saw his lifelong dream come to fruition. The revolt crumbled and the long-awaited change it promised was cut short. He joined the rest of Anizotte's defenders in the final fight. The prefect was captured and stripped of his noble title for the crime of treason, then hanged in disgrace. Alborn faced death with dignity and did not utter a single word of regret for what he had done. The former prefect is remembered as one of the leaders of the revolt, though he did not live long enough to witness the coming of a new age. So who else we're gonna follow? We're gonna follow Father Leonard. Well, we know what happened. Abbot Leonard had hoped to become the first patriarch elected by the people, but this was not meant to be. The leader of the new faith met his end beneath the ruins of the very temple that had been entrusted into his care. He is remembered as a priest to provoke the wrath of the twins themselves and reduce the Empire's greatest holy place to rubble. Alright then, Jean maybe? I don't know. No, Thomas, yeah. By the time the revolt had set Anizotte ablaze, Thomas Guerre was already living a new life with his family far from the city. It seemed as though he could finally enjoy a peaceful life. Well, good for you, I suppose. But a few months later, the rebellion reached the sleepy village where your friend and his wife had put down roots. A horde of rebels approached the village where they lived, and most of the villagers joined them, eager to loot and pillage their very own community. Thomas fought desperately for his life and livelihood, but he was torn limb from limb by his former neighbors. Well, poor Thomas, I suppose. How sad. And Octavia, yes, whatever happened to you? The being that was once Octavia Melanides departed from this world forever without a trace. It was as though neither the beautiful young Arknell lady nor the enigmatic being she became ever existed. All the knowledge of the Latari was lost forever, along with the legacy of Octavia Melanides. Well, that's a bit sad. I would love to see if that can reach some sort of other conclusion. And of course, Sophia, it was my duty to stop her, and the leader of Lastro was executed by your hand. Some remember her forever as a great freedom fighter who struggled for the good of the common folk. Others call her a vicious murderer who threatened to raze the empire to the ground. Yes, indeed. Kinda good that we stopped her in the end. And then the Brante family, the dishonored and impoverished Brante family. The Brante family fell apart, rent asunder by squabbling and strife. Your family home grew desolate and empty long ago. None of you ever found a way to make peace, and in the end your old grudges were stronger than the blood you shared. You remain strangers for the rest of your lives. Oh, very, very sad indeed. And Robert Brante, my father. We're gonna go through. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, you know what? Fine, let's do it. Father, after his family fell apart, Robert Brante left Margaret for the northern provinces. There, in another city, he found employment at the local prefecture as an assistant judge. This minor post allowed Robert to eke out a humble existence far from any power struggles or social turmoil. His family's woes, once the root of his unending suffering, were finally behind him, leaving him with nothing but bitter memories. He remained alone for the rest of his life and passed away in solitude. That's very sad for my father, and my mother, obviously. She died from illness before these events transpired, and she was not there to see what became of her family. That is also very, very sad. I wish that I had saved her at the very least, but I was just shy of being able to do that. And my brother, my older brother, having severed all ties with the family, Stefan had no reason to remain in Anizotte. After abandoning his aspirations for the Brante bloodline, he fully dedicated himself to his own ambitions. Your former brother took on a new name, Stefan Elborn. He moved to the capital and began working hard to earn himself a place in the Emperor's court. Wait, took a new name? You had to be noble by the sword to get the L. Intriguing. But in the end, Stefan was too plain-spoken to survive in the realm of courtly intrigue. His bold and ambitious nature swiftly earned him a plethora of enemies at court. Before long, he was falsely accused of plotting against the crown. Stefan's attempts to exonerate himself proved futile, and his life and honor met an ignoble end. Well, poor Stefan. So what about Gloria then? After that unforgettable quarrel in the Brante home, Gloria left Anizotte to travel the empire. She hoped to see the life of the common folk firsthand and transcribe their truth in her travel notes. The news of the revolt back in Anizotte reached Gloria during her trip through the province of Illyria. She seized the opportunity right away and sparked an uprising against the crown among the local commoners. Oh, bloody hell. However, the province's noble militia swiftly suppressed the riots. Gloria was captured and sentenced to hard labor in the mines for life. But not even hard labor could stop Gloria. She did her best to inspire her fellow prisoners to rise up against their captors. But rather than share her fervor, the other laborers turned her in, hoping for a reduced sentence. Gloria fought tooth and nail against the old ways, but she did not live long enough to see whether or not her efforts ever bore fruit. Instead, she met a swift and ignoble end. Blood, why do we all die? Well, I guess our father lives, so good for our father, I suppose. And Nathan, your younger brother, survived the revolt. When it passed, he found the strength to start his life anew. You had given him a glimmer of hope that he nurtured with his soul, and in it helped him to accept the common lot as his path to the peak of the pillar. He dedicated the rest of his life to prayer, toil, and humility. The suffering he had endured in a spiritual quest became the foundation of his faith. When the end came, Nathan departed to the twins' final judgment without fear. Well, that's lovely. At least something went a little bit good, I suppose. And what do you mean what became of him? We very much know what became of him. Not even in the afterlife did Gregor Brante see the realization of his great dream. His descendants failed to have the brand name ennobled by the sword. The Brante bloodline was denied its chance to become one of the Empire's most eminent dynasties. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante would never have another chance at immortality. And there we go, that was my end. The hour of your death has come, your soul has left your body, never to return. You are taken to the peak of the shining pillar, every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. Link that once bound you is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You have ascended from the mortal realm. From here, you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the shining pillar. But first, you must be judged by them, just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial. Only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. Stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid bare before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. I prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twin asks, are you thankful to the gods for the life you lived? Well, I probably am not gonna say. I'm just gonna say, in some ways, I'm calm. The soul is filled with love for those who created you. Not so much. My life was agony, not really. No gratitude towards you. My life was mine and mine alone. You hate the world the twins created. Didn't hate my life, though. I did not regret their gift to me. And, well, I essentially accept everything that happened to you, yes. No gratitude towards creators. You know what? I'm calm. I'm very, very calm. There we go. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who turns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. Then the twin asks once more, what was life to you? Is this the same as I did before? Kind of, I think. I think it was a bit of a struggle, to be honest. But actually, you know what? No, enlightenment. Focused on learning about the world and its truths. That is very much what I did, I think. The other twin bows his head wearily, considering your response. But the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? I did indeed have a cause. There we go. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues his stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? Well, not so much of a change in some ways. I don't exactly know anything here. I'm just gonna go for change. I don't know if that's actually true. But let's go for it. The younger twin now moves towards you with a clear intent, poised to render his judgment. But the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world be made better and more perfect? It did not become better. Let's just say that did not happen in the end. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question. The very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. What determined your destiny? And I'd say... in some ways I'd say both, really. I mean, it wasn't just other people, it wasn't just myself, it wasn't just you. So you know what? No one really determined my destiny. The twin gods exchange a glance that lasts a brief moment, and all eternity. Then the hand of the elder twin reaches out to you, glowing with light and warmth. The gods offer you an unprecedented opportunity to change your destiny, etc., etc. So, you know what? I'm gonna say no. First of all, the episode has gone on long enough, and while it would be interesting to see if other choices can actually not have me end in death, I'm gonna accept that this is where it all ended. I made some choices that ultimately did not get me what I wanted, and I think that that is sort of how this game is supposed to be in some ways. And I can just replay the entire thing and probably get a different result, like, or rather, should I say, many different results. So no, my life is over. I'm done. You reject the hand of the elder, the immense divine silhouette withdraws in sorrow. The younger twin steps forward, leaving you to face his law alone. The twin's judgment is nearing its end. So let's see, what do you do? Where do I go? The soul of a man named Brante lies prostrate at your feet. Oh, we now change to, we are now the twins. You have witnessed his entire life, known his every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could ever walk the same path. So many difficult choices, so many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen for him to the very end. Those who abide by the precepts set forth by you and your brother shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Where does the man named Chris Brante belong? And I'm gonna actually say, considering how I've acted in very many ways, I don't necessarily feel that I should be rewarded with the peak of the pillar. So I'm gonna go with the foot of the pillar, because while I definitely had the best of intentions most of the times, I caused a lot of suffering. And obviously I very much went against the twins, very much, and didn't really get anything from it anyway. So yeah, off to the foot with me, I suppose. The sword strikes, the blade mercilessly slices the minuscule soul in twain. It shatters into a multitude of sparks. Each of these sparks was once a dream, a deed, a thought, a hope. Sparks fly down to the foot of the shining pillar, to the eternal darkness of non-being. The lonely light is slowly extinguished. The man named Chris Brante is no more. Has finally come to know true suffering. Has become nothing. Well, alright, and that's not a bad thing. That's not suffering. If you're nothing, you don't... If this is what the younger twin actually thinks of suffering, that shows how ridiculous he is. Because if you don't exist, you don't suffer. Bloody hell. Alright then. Let's see if we get like the Chronicle of Life. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff happening. I'm just gonna scroll down to the end and say end life. And that is indeed the end of the game. And boy, that is a game. That is a game and a half. Bloody hell. So I gotta say, for a game such as this, which is a choices matter game, I don't know that I know of a game that does it better than this. Now granted, we do have to recognize the fact that it is just a text-based game with graphics, but there's no like interactions, there's no moving of characters or anything like that. So yes, if it's just text, you can sort of, I suppose, make it a little bit better in quotation marks. But bloody hell, do they do it good. I have not played anything like this. I haven't seen anything like this from other people, so I've enjoyed this greatly. And the fact how this game has presented choices is just quite amazing. The fact that choices that you make very early on just comes back again and again and again means that you really need to consider what you do at all times. You can't just blindly click choices left and right and just hope that it goes well. You have to actually think about what you're doing, and I didn't think about what I was doing some of the times, and that came back to bite me quite a lot. And yeah, this is a great game. A really great game. Everyone should play this. I'm gonna play it again, and most likely several times again. If there's only one thing that I can say, I see by the names here that yes, these are not English-speaking people natively. There are some grammatical errors in the texts. And in any other game, I wouldn't really have said anything about that in the sort of outro of a series. But in this game, where text is the only thing that exists, it is kind of bad that there are grammatical errors. It means that it hasn't been proofread enough. So on the other hand, I also haven't, logged it and told them about it. So if no one else does that either, well, obviously it's not going to get changed. But that is basically the only downside that I can think about for this game. Maybe there could have been some animations, at least one or two. That could have been a thing, but it doesn't really matter. I think it works great anyway. So, I mean, I think you should try it. I definitely think that you should try it. For now though, this has been ghostmutgaming with me, Christopher. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.